Howdy, y'all. So today, another beautiful, almost spring day out here, and it was windier in the town. Thought it was gonna be super windy out here, but not too bad. So this is good. Um, didn't feel like spending $50 on a round trip and gas for my truck, so we stuffed a couple of 12 footers and a 10 footer in my little party car here, and it worked out. So that's good. Saved me about $32 or so. But today we're just gonna put those in there and do some more prepping for the subfloor to eventually come out here. I don't think I'll be able to put subfloor sheets in this car though, so we'll have to make a truck run at some point, but we'll make the best of it and load it up as full as I can. So here we go. All right, so we're just setting up the 2x6s where I think they're gonna go in the little gaps here. This one, I show you that I got so close for it to be in a direct fit, but just had to end up cutting a ½ inch or so off there in the end, so we got close. And one thing I noticed on these newer 2x6s, they're a lot skinnier in the 6-inch section compared to the stock ones that were there that were probably milled, 1983, I think it was when my house was built. So yeah, they're skimping out these days, a little bit farther from 6 inches than they used to be, but they still work, I suppose. And here, just matching the little cutouts for where the plumbing is going to cross over to go in. Right there is going to be the shower section, and the other one that I was doing before, that was where the front shower sink is going to be. And since I'm able to lay them both on their side here, it's a little more labor intensive to use the hammer, but when it's laid down like this, it goes by pretty fast. And then just trying to line them up, and I started to nail it, but it kind of, every time I hit it, it would push the 2x6s out of straightness or level or whatever you want to call them, parallel, vertical, I don't know. Anyway, so I had to use the palm nailer to get it at least set into place where they need to be, and then finish them off with the hammer there. But I won't subject you to all of it. And here's, I think I talked about where it was going up into the fireplace, where I decided to go with a 10-foot section and cut off some of the older piece there. So I went with a 10-footer instead of an 8-footer. And doing the same thing there, where I just use the hammer because I can have it on that plane instead of hammering on a vertical piece. And then we'll go back over to the palm nailer for now. But I won't subject you to all of those because you've seen plenty of them. Here is, I'm just kind of throwing up this little threshold wood on this section, and I'll give you a description of it here in a second. So just a temporary placing for now, though. Pulling up the subfloor that I just had sitting here so that I could do a little more of the scraping on the excess glue and remnants of the previous subfloor being there, just to smooth it out. Although those two boards are new, so I do have to put a couple nail plates there, a couple nail plates there, one up there, and I think one right in the middle of the door there. But we got it smoothed out. They're not the prettiest boards. There's a little crack right here, but I think it was most of it was from my well, this one I don't think. This one just might be a little cracked, but it's still solid. But there's like a little groove in that one from setting the skill saw depth just a little deeper than it needed to be. And you could see those. There's like little cross hatches here and such. And when I was going this way with it, just being a little too deep, but it's just 1/16 of an inch or so, 1/8 of an inch at the most. So anyway, and then we took the plumbing. The plumbing used to run down here, and I got it down to as far as where it goes into the kitchen section there. So yeah, these had been here since last fall, so they kind of got wet for a little while. But these ones were I think some of the few that were got covered up and not rained on faster than there was a couple over here. I think this one was the only Advantech one that was over here and got really rained on, and it's pretty ugly. This stuff actually, you know, held up really well. That one's ugly. It still structurally seems pretty sound, but I'll save that one for a shed. But these ones look just fine. Obviously this was the underside. Well, it's the top side, but I had it flipped over, so it looks better than the other side, but it's just discolored, but still super sound. But I'm gonna use this one as my first one up here. So what I wanna do on these ones is there's the little tongue part for the tongue and groove, but since this is gonna be under that, I'm gonna just cut this off with a circular saw to smooth it out so it doesn't have the little lip that sticks out of the end of the roof or floor here. So we'll cut that off. All right, over here in the bump out, so technically the bump out is supposed to be free floating from the house, so it can't be connected to it permanently. It needs to be able to easily be disconnected. And so there was two. So this is the rim joist, for the inner rim joist for the bump out, and then this one is for the house. On the metal wings underneath, there's some bolts that keep it in place, you know, but when it's time to move, you just undo those bolts, and so these two are not connected to each other. There was spray foam in between those on the original one. So what I did here was snapped a chalk line all the way down to the other end, and hopefully it's straight enough. And I'm going to take the circular saw and cut that off so that these subfloors aren't permanently attached to the joist in the house, only to the one that's the end of the bump out. So that's what we'll try to do now. All right, there it is. It's not perfect. Yeah, it's just like pushed off a little bit off of it this way here, and then it evens it out. And this second half, it's a little bit farther that way than I'd like it to be, but it's all good. When I put the subfloors on this way, you know, we'll just match it up. And it doesn't, I mean, we don't want it to be super tight there anyway. When I put the floor on, I'll have like a little gap piece that goes in there that can come and go, so it still maintains that free floating deal. So yeah, we'll clean up these 2x6s on the top here so we can lay the subfloor down, but everything looks to be good there. So I think I did work on it because yeah, I pressed this piece in new. That piece was not looking too hot previously when I was working on the bump out. So anyway, we'll get that done. And there we go, another day down. I did put hammered in, hand nailed these two brackets in there. Still got to do one there and one there, but otherwise all this is really prepped and ready for subfloor up to, you know, right about there. Just hand scrapes, a lot of tedious work today, moving things around. I did end up cutting the tongue part on that one down there, worked out right. And then I cut this out that you saw and scraped it all smooth so it's ready to go. I just ended up putting these pieces of wood back there because, well, they fit perfectly and just something to walk on, but they can just be pulled up when it's ready to go. And that's pretty much what we did today. So I appreciate you guys coming along. These last few videos, it doesn't seem too exciting. Things aren't going as fast as when I was putting up walls and whatnot, but I think the next time I come out here, depending on the weather and if I drive my truck, then I'll start doing the subfloors. Although even if I don't bring my truck, I do, like I said, I'm gonna use a couple of those so I can at least start it, but I gotta get the plumbing in. So we'll work on that. And if I don't bring more subfloors out here anytime soon, then we'll start tearing these walls out and whatnot and hoping that the ceiling doesn't collapse when I do that. So anyway, alrighty then, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.